Hi, everybody. Welcome. Sorry for the slight delay. Technical difficulties as usual for things. So today we're talking about the stress to refresh. So we're going to talk about some stress, some anxiety, some normal occurrences in the day-to-day life of a human being.
And just as a disclaimer, we want you guys to know that this is a psychoeducational seminar. It's hosted by me, Alyssa Hassler, and Colt Owen. We're counseling psychology practicum students, and we're both supervised by Mark Ream, which is the director of the ASU Counseling Services. The seminar is not intended to be used as a treatment. It's intended to be for educational purposes and just give you guys some information. If you are experiencing any emotional discomfort, please contact the counseling services at the number that's provided on screen to inquire about counseling. Or you can call the crisis helpline, which is also the number on screen for immediate assistance. Just to tell you guys a little bit about ourselves, I'm Alyssa. Like I said, I'm a counseling practicum student here at ASU. I am planning to graduate in December and obtain my LPC once I graduate. Fun fact about me is that I own all of the movie tickets or movie subs to every movie that I've been to.
And a little bit about me, Colt Owen. So like Alyssa, I'm a counseling practicum student at the Counseling Center. I am planning on graduating in May, so another semester. A fun fact about me is I own approximately 200 pairs of socks. So different decorative dress socks and things like that. I do wear long socks with shorts, and I am proud to show them off. So kind of getting into some of the material here. So looking at stress and anxiety, so how can they impact me? Kind of what are they? So the idea of stress is it's the body's response to physical, emotional, and mental pressures. So there's different types of stress that we'll talk about. Now, when we think of stress, it's typically thought of as a negative thing. Well, stress isn't always a negative thing. So we think about the acute stress. So this is the most common type of stress, something that happens, in everyone's life, we experience stress from time to time. So this is the body's response to a recent challenge or unexpected event. So this can be helpful in some situations. So looking at kind of a model, it's called the Yerkes-Dodson model of arousal and performance, that there is this idea that there's a zone of best performance of when you have slight arousal or slight stress. So you're not the completely, like chilled out, relaxed on the one side, and you're not totally like everything's going bad, I don't know what I'm going to do. You're not totally stressed out on the one end. You're kind of in the middle. So hitting in that middle for some events, so think of it from an athletic performance perspective. With the fans cheering, your arousal is a little bit up, so you're a little bit stressed, but that actually helps in performance. And going forward to more of the episodic acute, so this is the next step up of stress. This is a little more frequent, a little more impactful for your day-to-day life. So this type of stress can have some symptoms, but can also impact how you treat others. So we think about the first step of stress is really just impacting us, that day-to-day stress. Going into the next level of stress is episodic acute is maybe affect your mood. Maybe you're more irritable because things keep stressing you out. So it's impacting your relationships, things like that. Chronic stress is when we go more into almost a constant state of high arousal. So it talks about the fight or flight mode. So you're in this constant state, like your heart's beating fast, you're having these racing thoughts. Staying in that constant state of arousal could be damaging for your health. So if you're constantly having, this quick heartbeat, it can be damaging for your heart over time, be damaging for your mindset, be damaging for your social relationships again. So kind of looking at the different levels of stress kind of helps put in perspective that stress isn't just a blanket term for being stressed out. There are different levels.
So then we have, we just talked about stress, which can impact many things like changes in the body, raise your blood pressure, your heart rate, your blood sugar levels, which is pretty unhealthy overall if it's constant. It can also interfere with our memory or concentration problems. And then, so now when we talk about anxiety and stress typically tend to go hand in hand, because when we experience stress, that physical, that emotional or mental pressure, we get this anxiety, this feeling of worry, nervousness, unease. And it's typically about an event that is like right there in front of you, or something that is going to happen in the future that you don't know the outcome of. You know, like you don't know how well you're going to do on that test. You don't know how your roommate is going to respond to you having your friends over or something like that. So that could be a couple of things that we have that uncertain outcome. And again, you know when you're feeling this anxiety because you get these physical signs of being restless, you know. Your thoughts are always racing, maybe you can't sleep. You're having panic. Some people, when you get especially into that chronic stress, can have panic attacks. Your heart rate is increased, rapid breathing, you could be hyperventilating, you could be sweating, sweaty palms, you're trembling, you could even be feeling weak or tired, even though maybe you haven't done, you haven't gone to the gym and ran 3 miles or did an hour of weightlifting, but your body feels physically weak or tired. You're going to have trouble concentrating because these thoughts are constantly running through your head. You feel like you can't sit down and read your textbook or take notes. You could experience headaches, muscle aches. This muscle ache is interesting because you might not have put physical stress on your body. You might not have gone to the gym and lifted, but when we get stressed and we have anxiety, our muscles will naturally tighten, and you'll notice the next day maybe your jaw's sore, maybe your shoulders are sore, maybe parts of your body are sore that you don't even realize that you're tightening, that you're stressing when you have experienced this stress. You could also have a loss of appetite or an increase of appetite. Some people, they call themselves stress eaters, or some people are like, oh, I'm so stressed, I can't even eat. I don't even have time to sit down for a meal. And then insomnia or a lack of sleep is also another big one.
So kind of looking at some common stressful situations for y'all as college students. So picking a major and deciding your future, just starting off with a pretty big one. This idea of the decision you make your freshman, your sophomore year is looking 30 years down the road of what you're going to be doing in the future. So I can bring up some stress. So the idea of going and talking to your advisors, looking at interesting classes, maybe talking to people that are in a field you're kind of interested in. So being able to kind of gain some control of those thoughts of what am I going to be doing? Well, like, this is the path I want to be on, getting on that path by talking to those folks. And the overall adjustments of moving away from home, making new friends, living with someone you don't know. So, oftentimes it's difficult just to go up and just talk to someone out of the blue. You come to a new school, maybe you moved a few hours away to come to San Angelo, you may not know anyone here. So this idea of maybe you miss your family, you miss your home, your friends back home. You're in this new area, you don't know what's going on. So being able to have presentations like this, have outreach programs through different clubs on campus, being able to go to the CHP if you enjoy working out, being able to go to home sporting events, maybe meet some people with some common interests. There's a lot of things to do. It's just going out and seeing those things and having the mindset of this is where I am. Maybe you've already picked your major. I'm excited about my future. I'm going to make the best out of the situation, get to know people. Exams, assignments, deadlines. So we'll talk a little bit about study tips. Just the idea of studying to prepare for that. But the more prepared you are for those exams, assignments, the slower those deadlines are going to hit you. Whereas if you start a paper the day before, that deadline is going to seem really aggressive and it's going to be very anxiety provoking. Versus if you start a paper 2 weeks out, being able to have that forethought of, I'm going to save my future self that stress. So it's kind of planning ahead, studying ahead, things like that. So feeling overwhelmed. So occasionally there's going to be times where you're not as prepared as you'd like to be. That's completely normal. So we're going to talk in a little bit about some breathing techniques, some ways to kind of calm yourself, to slow your heart rate down, kind of center yourself, talk about what that means as well, to where you can realize that just because you're feeling really stressed out and everything seems to be going bad, that you can bring it back in and be like, I'm going to be fine because of X, Y, Z. Getting sick. So actually being stressed, Alyssa talked a little bit about how it can impact your muscles and actually make your muscles tighter and make you feel sore. It can impact your immune system as well, so making you more susceptible to getting sick because you've been stressed out for a few days or you've been really anxious and your body's just been going, you're in that fight or flight mode constantly. And that wears on your immune system to the point where you're going to get sick eventually. Financial issues. So school's expensive. Angela State is an affordable university. Affordable doesn't mean cheap though. So it's still expensive. And then just the day-to-day living. Maybe you have this coping with your stress that you like to go out to eat. Going out to eat can add up, and that causes financial stress, and that kind of is a cyclical thing where you start to get anxious about the thing you're doing to make yourself feel less anxious. So being able to figure out maybe some coping strategies that are cost-effective or don't cost anything. Trying to balance all your areas of life. So we went over quite a few different things there, and it's hard to be a good friend, a good child, a good, grandchild. You have all these different hats that you're wearing, and sometimes it can get a little stressful. So the idea of putting yourself first and the idea of not being selfish, but doing so because it helps you be all those different things at a better rate. Emotional distress, so like maybe a relationship breakup, something like that. Something unexpected, like we talked about, that stress occurs with these unexpected situations. Again, falling back on some of the coping strategies we'll talk about and being able to realize that there are help. So we'll talk about, again, some resources you can go to seek help if you really think you need it, because that's what it's here for. It's here for y'all to get the help that y'all desire. And the idea of navigating campus and classes kind of goes with the adjustment up above. This idea of maybe it's your first semester and you don't know where any of the classes are. You just left your high school that you knew everything. You were a senior, you were the older person in the school, you knew what was going on. To here, you're a freshman, brand new town, maybe. Things can get a little overwhelming. So those coping strategies I was talking about. So relaxing, so that's anything that's helpful for you. You're the expert on yourself. That's an idea, kind of a counseling idea, and just an idea for life of you're the person who knows the most about you because you're with you all the time. So whatever's relaxing for you is relaxing for you. These are just some hints or some examples of things that have worked for some people. I know I've used quite a few of these things. So taking a vacation, so the idea of a mini vacation. So maybe you're in the dorms, you get tired, you've been working on stuff all day. You hit this point where continuing to work on it's not going to get anything done. So you're like, I'm not going to sit here and stare at the screen for 2 hours and get myself more stressed out. I'm going to go take a little break. So go for a walk on campus. Maybe go to the UC to get a bite to eat or go to the cafeteria, go play some basketball if you're into that. Just the idea of getting out, getting moving, removing yourself from that stress for a little bit can actually help you come back, do better on the assignment. Some breathing exercises. So box breathing. So box breathing is the idea of, you can kind of think of it as 5 seconds in, you're breathing in, so that's coming up. You're holding that for 5 seconds, so that's coming across. You're releasing that breath slowly for 5 seconds, and then you're holding it out for 5 seconds. So that's 5, 5, 5, 5. Kind of think of it as making a box. So it can help you focus on the breathing, so you're counting, and actually slow your heart rate down and help you feel more grounded and relaxed in the moment. So the grounding exercise.
So for grounding exercises, there's something called the 5 senses that we can do. So you're going to sit there wherever you are, and you feel overwhelmed, you feel stressed. You're going to think of 5 things that you can see. Wherever you are, 5 separate things that you can see, 4 things that you can feel. So you're going to be able to touch, maybe it's your hair, your skin, the pen in your hand, the paper, your pants, anything like that. Then you're going to do 3 things that you can hear, 2 things that you can taste, like maybe you have a drink in front of you, you can take a sip of that. And then one thing that you can smell. So one thing, like, even if it's just like that stale air that you can smell, or maybe like you have a roommate that made popcorn, or maybe you're sitting there and you're smelling the fresh air, something like that. Just being able to ground yourself with those 5 senses can really help, because you have to focus on those things. Another grounding exercise is muscle tension to relaxation. So we talked earlier about how stress can put that physical stress on your body. You tense your muscles. So when you're doing muscle tension to relaxation, typically people will start with their feet and work their way up their body. So you'll flex or tense your muscles in your feet for about 5 seconds, and then you'll release. And you'll do that 3 times, working all the muscles up to your body. This helps you be able to recognize in the future when you are stressed, you'll be able to recognize more where you're holding that tension, and you'll be able to recognize, okay, I'm holding tension in my jaw right now, or my shoulders have tension, and then you can physically relax them. When we focus on the physical parts of our body, like the senses that we can feel, see, touch, hear, our breath, or our muscles, it takes away from those racing thoughts that are in our head.
And looking at the coping cards, so you can make these on note cards if you'd like. You can also just write them on a sheet of paper or on a whiteboard, wherever you feel most comfortable, even in your phone. So a coping card strategy that I've used is actually called coping statements. So again, you write on a card. These are a couple that I've written down. So these are just thoughts, not reality. So thinking about some anxious thoughts. A lot of them maybe aren't based totally in fact, just like worrying about what may happen, the worst possible outcome. It's like, well, these are just thoughts. Doesn't mean it's happening. It doesn't mean it's going to happen. Kind of helps centering yourself using that. Another statement is, I can feel anxious and still deal with the situation. So just because a situation is anxiety provoking doesn't necessarily mean you need to escape that situation or you need to leave that situation. So something like giving a presentation may invoke some feelings of anxiety, and this leading up to, you may feel stressed about, no, I don't know if I'm going to do well, so you start having these anxious thoughts. You know, like, just because I'm anxious doesn't mean I'm going to fail, or doesn't mean I don't need to do that. Looking at journaling, so maybe you are a person who likes to express their feelings, but maybe likes to just do so writing down. Maybe you don't want to talk about them right away. So journaling, and it helps through that journaling of writing down what happened during the day, how you're feeling anxious, what's stressing you out, helps you get it out of your mind and kind of relieve some of that stress off of your mind. So it's in another place. You can think of it as like picking it up and putting it somewhere else. You're pulling it off your shoulders and putting it on the ground. Exercise and yoga. So there are yoga classes done through the CHP, so the gym here on campus. If yoga is something that would interest you, maybe you're not familiar with how to do it, so they can show you that, and it's included in a lot of the student fees that we pay. And exercise, so if it's you like going to play sports, you just like walking around campus, something to get your body moving and kind of get your mind off of whatever you're fixated on stress-wise. Study tips, so a few study tips. So if you're studying for an exam, the best place to study for that exam is where you're taking the exam. So there are a bunch of like environmental cues, things like the look of the room, the smell of the room, the sounds in the room, you'll associate with the information that you study. If you're unable to study where you take the test, so if you have an in-person class where you have to take tests and you can't go in the classroom, studying in as many different places as possible helps store information connected to as many different things as possible. So you're more likely to be able to recall that information when the test time does come. And leaves on a stream. So this is a meditation. So this is an imagery thing. So you're going to sit with you in a comfortable position, maybe with your legs crossed, eyes closed, and you're imagining sitting by this calm river. So this flowing water, maybe you can even hear it, definitely picturing it in your mind. You see this leaf float by. And you put all of your stressful thoughts, all your anxious thoughts on this leaf. So you remove them from your mind. They're on the leaf, and they float away down the stream, never to be seen again. So yeah, it's more of a imagery, meditation kind of exercise.
So we understand, sometimes you might need other people to help you with your stress and your anxiety. So here are some on-campus resources that you can take advantage of. They're completely free. So for starters, we have our counseling services here. Our walk-in times are Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. You can walk in any time and be able to see a counselor during that time, or you can call us with that number on screen to make an appointment at a time that works best for you. You can have ongoing therapy, or you can just come in for one session and problem solve with a therapist if that's what you need. And then in the session, maybe like, I like this, I want to keep going. And you can, again, change your mind and come to ongoing therapy. We also, in our counseling services building, have the relaxation room, which has, there's a big couch in there, there's a massage chair in there that you can come in, and you can stay in there for up to 3 hours as long as nobody's waiting for you, waiting to use it as well. So come in, if you're walking to the UC, or you walk into the library, or walking to class, and you're like, oh, I have about 15 minutes to spare, you can come in and sit in that massage chair right before class, calm your mind, calm your thoughts, get a little massage, release some of that muscle tension maybe you've been having. And we actually just started a Wellness Wednesday workshop, which started on September 29th. That was the first week. It's going to be 6 weeks. It's on Wednesdays from 4 to 5 p.m. in the Health and Human Services building in room 104. If you want to learn a little bit more about like the breathing exercises that we did and different coping strategies, more in depth, and we'll have counselors there that will actually teach you those things, so you can join those. It's an open group, so if you just want to go to one, that's fine. If you want to go to all of them, that works too. We also have the creativity room, which is located in the counseling services building, for those who like to kind of like get their emotions and their feelings out through doing creative things, like maybe journaling or painting or something like that. That can be very therapeutic to a lot of people, just being able to sit there and focus on painting, drawing, anything that just kind of put your feelings out on that paper or calm and relax you. And then we also have the Career Development Center. So if you are really stressing out or really anxious about, picking a major, or you picked your major but you don't know what job you can get with your major, or maybe you are trying to apply to grad school or doctoral programs, and you need help with your resume and your cover letter. If you go to the Career Development Center, they can help you with all of those things. They're located in the UC, and they're open from Monday to Friday to 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Go over there, you can get some personality assessments done to help you, figure out maybe what kind of job you would match up best with your personality. So if you're struggling with those things, definitely head over to the Career Development Center. And then just something we really want to touch on is that we give you these coping strategies, and we want to talk about this because if you don't take a break, your body will force you to. So oftentimes, if we don't cope or deal with our stress and our anxiety in an effective way, our body's going to go into overdrive, and it's going to feel overworked, and we can become physically sick. So I have found often that if I don't take the adequate breaks that I need at a stressful time in the semester, I'll get a cold, or I'll have like a 24-hour viral thing that hits me, and then it puts me out for that day. And when we get sick, especially in times right now in the pandemic, if you have any sort of illness, you're going to be out for a couple of days, maybe even just waiting for a COVID test result, or being like, well, I know it's just a cold, but I don't want to get someone else sick. So if we are able to take those adequate coping strategies that we use and use them, the chances of us getting sick decline. But remember, you're the expert in your own life. you know what works best for you. So try out a couple strategies, and whichever one works for you, use that. Maybe you don't like to journal. Maybe your coping strategy to deal with stress is to go work out. That's fine. Maybe your coping strategy is to binge 3 Netflix shows while munching on some snacks. If that's what helps you, then that's what helps you. Just don't overdo those things, you know, don't push yourself to the limit. But you are the expert in your own life, so do what works best for you guys.
And one, leaving thought I have is, I like to often equate really stressful or heavy thoughts with lifting heavy things, like actually lifting things. So the idea of lifting a refrigerator is really difficult by yourself. So managing these thoughts by yourself is really difficult. It's the going out and seeking help and getting those resources like we listed. The idea of getting help doesn't mean that you're weak. It means that you wanted to do the job well. So you're going to move that refrigerator with 1 or 2 other people. And it makes it a lot easier, it's helpful in accomplishing that goal. So if you're having all these stressful and anxious thoughts and you're holding them and you're trying to hold them all in, thinking it's going to help other people because you're not, quote unquote, burdening them, in fact, it's just hurting yourself and even hurting those relationships, because the people that care about you are going to see this decline in your performance and in your attitude because you are stressed out. So being able to seek out that help that you need is going to help in you being a better you. Question? Well, I appreciate everyone that joined and everyone that's going to view this recording in the future, and thank you all very much.